one of the things that is so important for where the planet is right now and for who we are is that we are not going to get more separate. We've got to come more into communities, and communities where we feel a lot of resonance, communities where we feel claimed and protected and loved and embraced and vulnerable. So this is what we're doing today. You guys know how I do. I have points, and then I go with whatever I'm hearing. I had a memory about when I was 13 or 14. And the memory was that I was on a vacation with my family. And I was going down to the pool by myself. I had my towel. I was barefoot. I had a book. And on the way down in the elevator got stuck. And there were 4 of us on the elevator. So you can imagine, like, once we realized we were stuck, that it got a little panicky. People started to get a little worried, and I could feel myself. I was 13, 14 in my bathing suit, just like starting to, get a little anxious, but moving into that calmness about being in crisis mode. There was one gentleman who immediately, like, he just took charge, and he did it in such a beautiful way. And he spoke to us. He's like, this happens all the time. Don't worry. And he's like, I'm going to call out. I'm going to find a way to reach someone. And he was so calm. And there were 4 of us. And I remember having my book. And the first thing I did was, once I knew that the elevator was calm, that he was going to be in charge, I sat on the floor, and I didn't know then that I was grounding myself by sitting on the floor, grounding. And I started to read. I didn't know then that I was using a tool, because in those days, books were really calming to my central nervous system. We were there for 2 hours, and no one knew where I was. And he just calmly, he picked up the phone, and he kept just calming us. And of course, in an elevator, energy, as in anywhere else, is contagious. So I want to start with that story. Because sometimes what happens in uncertain times is our craving, our urge, our sometimes desperate desire reach for certainty. That's what we're asking for. Is that in order to calm ourselves on the inside, we are reaching for certainty. Now, whether that be as a nation, whether that be because you're making a big decision in your life, whether that be that you're struggling to come out, whatever it is for each of you, money, right? This question of things feel uncertain. And so as humans, what we most crave is certainty. The tricky thing with certainty is that it can get us very stuck. And this is what I would tweak. I'm going to look over here a little bit. So in search of certainty, what we do is we reach for the outside. We reach for a club, for a sorority, for a church, right? We reach for the outside. We reach for someone, we reach for a marriage to find certainty. And all of those are good options, like we're doing today. Can I be with a group where I feel certain that we are resonant with each other? And that feels calming. It makes sense, especially if we come from childhoods, a lot of us do, where it was really uncertain, where the task as children is to be born into families that feel certain and stable and secure, where we belong. If we didn't have that, especially, we're going to be moving into the world reaching for certainty all the time. And that's the vibe. That's the vibe. It makes sense. And for those of you who know me or follow me, who know about my work with the root chakra, the root chakra is all about the foundation of how we exist. And the root chakra is about safety, security, belonging, but not exactly about certainty. The root chakra does not promise certainty, but it does promise, when we heal, safety, security, and belonging. This is my exponential tweak to certainty, which is the vibe in the room today, is that it is essential that the certainty begin here. And so part of the task, even today, is to make sure that our internal sense of safety, belonging, and security start here on the inner journey. That the root chakra security begin inside, and no, it's not so much reaching outside. We'll get there. Don't worry. I'm headed there. And that it starts here with the individual. It's because that man knew how to be calm in the elevator. It's the person who's calm on the metro when it goes black, because it starts here. And then the resonance is out there. So let's reverse engineer. The reverse engineering is we find safety here first. We find security here first. And that is the deep healing of meditation, of therapy, of everything that's out there today, a billion tools. Because we are scared of going inside because of our wounds, our traumas, etc. But I want to invite you to think about this. I want you to consider this. It is uncertain in the external plane. It is uncertain. We don't know when a pandemic's going to hit. We don't know certain things. What if we pair that with feeling anchored and grounded here? Because we can pair uncertainty out there with uncertainty inside, and then we're spastic in an elevator. We're spastic in a mob. We're spastic in a relationship. So what if we can ground? What if we can have the tools? What if we can find that inner stability, which is the root of all of our healing? Every single piece of healing starts with the root chakra. Doesn't matter what's happened to you. It starts here. What happens is, listen, the way that it's worked is that we don't have certainty inside, and so we reach. But then the stock market crashes. We lose our job. We're in the middle of considering a divorce. All the things that give us certainty out there go up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. So we reverse engineer, and we start by saying, I'm going to do this first here, my loves. And once I do here, the loop that begins, instead of the loop being from the nervous, spastic inside out, the loop that begins is that we do this first, and then we resonate out. And so here are 3 key words for you. Ote, the tools of observation, transmutation, transformation, because first we transmute on the inside before we can transform on the outside. and evolution, ote. The second word for you today is lighthouse. When we do this inner work, we become that lighthouse. We become that man in the elevator. And that is what our spiritual leaders have done for us. They lighthouse from the inside out. And the third word for you today is inspire, which comes from the Latin word. You're going to love this. It's beautiful. Inspirare. Inspirare, which means to breathe into. Beautiful. To breathe into. Now, for those of us who meditate, for those of us who know the power of breath, it's gorgeous. Breath is the universal prayer. Breath is the universal prayer. But to breathe into others, to inspire, inspirare others. That man on the elevator was an inspiration through his beingness. Today, the invitation is this. The invitation is ote, lighthouse, inspire, but inspire through being, not so much doing. If we choose to do, fine, but it is secondary. Remember, inside first to the outside, because the loop comes back. And now I'm just going to close this before we move into our meditation. And we've got to close with Martin Luther King, because check it out, my loves. Check it out. First time in American history that inauguration is on a holiday, Martin Luther King Day. Martin Luther King Day. So on a holiday, what does it inspire us to do? To go inside. Number one, go inside. So fascinating. I happen to believe that the ancestors, they're with us. They're with us, inside with us. And we are here to complete a project for humanity. So I got a quote: darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can. And my invitation to you is your own light and your own self-love is the place to start. We can't go out there loving out there if we're not doing it in here, because we cannot resonate it. So Martin Luther King kicked off a project that humanity in the world was not ready for. That we are here to complete.